So I actually started a website here when I was a senior, 2013. Continued to do that. Running parallel to that, I'm also the Long Island area scout for the San Diego Padres. So they noticed me, the work that I was doing 2 years ago and hired me. So gives a little bit more stability to what I do. But basically, the blog, it started out in February 2013, and it was really just something to do for fun. I really also had to do it for capacity, but I think at that time, maybe we'll get into it more, but I started it I needed a positive outlet at that time. My dad had passed away. I was going through some hard times, so I think it was something that got my mind off of things, and then gradually over time I put more and more effort into it. And then 2 years later, I got incorporated, and I added staff, really just college students, but just to protect myself, to get incorporated, make it a little bit more real. And then 2 years later, we changed the name. At the time, it was Baseball on the Island, and we changed it to Access Baseball, which I think was really a turning point, just in terms of branding and being able to branch off into other sports, potentially other geographic regions. We just finished up the third full baseball season as Access Baseball. The coolest part is that basically yesterday ended my year of work. I would look at it as, because there's no baseball going on until Valentine's Day weekend is when Division I opens up. So really for the next couple months, I don't have that much responsibility. We cover football, but I have somebody that's in charge of football. I have someone in charge of basketball, so I kind of just oversee it. So I don't have as much responsibility. But as far as the Padres obligation, we just had a workout the other day, and we're going to do another one. So that's a little bit of work. But for me, that's fun, and it kind of feeds my website with content, because we're only going to invite the top players out of there, and the top players are what everybody wants to read about. So I think it's really fulfilling, and also the travel is really cool. I got to go to Texas A&M, which was a beautiful campus. The first year I was incorporated, they invited me down. The next year I went to Dominican Republic with they sent like an all-star team of Long Island players. I got to cover that. At a resort, the whole nine, and then Fort Myers, they have a big tournament there every year. I covered that, and where else? I went to Miami for the Power Showcase. So that's all. It's excuses to travel. I don't have to be there, but obviously it entails part of the job. There's always Long Island kids that get invited to these things nationwide, and now that I've gotten older, I probably won't do those types of trips as frequently. When I was a student here, I interned at Anton, which was not too far from here in Mineola. So my job was to cover sports at that time, so any sport. That's kind of where I think I got my passion to pursue my own thing, because for me it's not in my nature to be at volleyball games or really baseball and football were my one and two. So that's kind of what I tried to push for. So it was easier for me to get that internship, because I think that they were looking for college kids in this area, and I probably was right up their alley for that. So it was good for the time being. It was my fall semester senior year. After that, I did Patch, which was a little bit more specific. They had me cover the Mineola baseball team during their season, which I think I learned some lessons during that time, because that was kind of the downside of doing what I do. It was especially brutal winter that year. I remember kind of leaked into April, and just a lot of cold games, uncomfortable, questioning why you're doing it. And that's really like the reality, is that everything, like we mentioned before, you kind of see the tip of the iceberg with things sometimes, and a lot of it, was not glamorous. And getting emails from your supervisor at midnight that you had a typo, because that's when you got around to editing the article. And then the third one was Bleacher Report, which is really cool. That was actually the year before. I was spoiled with that. That was when they were really looking to expand, and they went by the whole, quantity over quality, I would say. That was their formula. The SEO, Google SEO hack, where as long as there's a bunch of articles about something, you'll be the first one to pop up. So when I applied, they got back to me like that day. So I did that for the semester. And then after they got acquired by Turner, they let go of all the unpaid writers and switched their model. But I kind of came in at the right time. I think it taught me stability on working on deadlines, covering games, and having to immediately go to the computer and just have concise thoughts. And in that regard, I learned that, and I think that was the bonus from there. As far as now accepting interns, I really just look for the people. Obviously, they need to be good at writing. I think that goes without saying. But to separate from the everyday that I get, probably the people with the most passion are the ones that I side with. I remember one, somebody emailed me and started with like the quote from The Bronx Tale: "The saddest thing in life is a waste of talent." And he went on to say how he was wasting his time at working at a bank, and lived and breathed baseball, and his cousin was or his brother-in-law played for Hofstra. So that was somebody that really resonated with me, and that was a no-brainer to say, look, he's reached out with that amount of energy and passion, that this is somebody I want on my side. Because a lot of times you just get people that say, oh, I got your email from a friend and recommended this to me, like, are you hiring or something? And that's just, they might as well just copy and paste that. But the people that it's specific to me, or they say, oh, you covered my game and now I want to work for you, those are the ones that really stand out to me. I applied for normal, regular companies. For a little bit I worked at Anton, and I would say on the bright side, I think the people that are in charge, they're very, they share your excitement about things too. When you're passionate about journalism, they want to see that you share that energy with them, and those are the times that you're going to have the most success in. When I applied to 60 places, like obviously not all of them are going to get back to you, but it doesn't really take that much effort to send out an email, so you really only lost that time. So I think the good surprises are when you hear back, when you're not expecting to hear back. That's the basic thing. And then to go beyond that, when you do hear back and they're as passionate as you are about something, that's really like the most important. You always feel like you're running behind schedule, like if you're a week out of college and you don't have a job, or a month, but then you start to realize that like someone mentioned, that sometimes people feel trapped in jobs that you're not running behind, like you're just early on, like you're early in the process. So I think, like for me, I had applied for a sports editor position in New Hampshire, and I thought it was going to be perfect. No, I'm sorry, it was in Boston, and I thought it was going to be perfect because it was high school sports right up my alley. And I sat in the interview. I was one of the 3 finalists or 2, and then I was kind of counting my chickens before they hatched, telling people that I was probably going to do it, and then they never offered it to me, and it was disappointing, like you mentioned. But then I found it was a blessing in disguise, because then you start to realize 3 years later, like, wait, my life would have probably taken on a whole different path. Wouldn't have been in the same position that I'm at. Probably would have been miserable. Probably wouldn't have been enough money to live realistically in another state. And you just start to realize that like things happen for a reason, and you just put your best foot forward, and when it's supposed to happen, it will happen. So missing out on a job when you're 24 probably isn't going to mean anything 10 years down the road or 5 years later. So I just think that I was put in this path for a certain reason, and whatever it was, I think it worked out. So when you don't hear back, or if you feel like you wasted your time, don't look at it like that. It's a learning experience. Probably in the top 1% of people that care about baseball, so I feel like for me it worked out. Like maybe if you're not that passionate about something, or if there is no way to monetize that passion, then yes, then get the safe job. But I just feel like there's always time to get that safe job. Like, we're all still young. There could be, who knows where we're going to be in 10 years. But at the age in college, like there's no reason I feel like to settle for something. Like pursue it blindlessly. If it doesn't work out, you still have time. And I feel like it worked out for me, just because I'm probably in that anomaly where I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So if you are passionate about something and you have the moxie to approach, the decision makers, they could, be impressed with your enthusiasm and, you know, really, really better your situation too in life, maybe financially and that as well. So I think that's the upside for it. There's always somebody that is more successful than you that's in this field, and they're not going to ask you for money. They're just going to say, look, this is my experience, from my experiences, this is how I would do it, and that's really what did it for me, you know? People that weren't going to take money from me or for their time, they just wanted to see me succeed, and I think that was like probably half of that. People say, oh, it was lucky, but I wouldn't have been in that position if I didn't, you know, grind for the 2 years before that. So eventually those breaks will come. Networking is a very abstract word. Like I think in college it's a little more concrete. Like you have events like this and they have job fairs. So you're kind of, it's built in, like you're there for a reason. But I think as you get older, and especially in my position where I have to, you know, wear multiple hats and I'm a salesperson as well, I think any conversation, when you ask enough questions, can lead to leading you in the right direction. I mean, especially at the baseball games that I'm at, like I'm covering it, but if a parent comes up to me, as we find out, people have a lot of money on Long Island, this person, even though their son is a really good baseball player and I'm there to watch him, you ask him enough questions to find out that his brother-in-law is the general manager of a car dealership and that they're looking to market more to baseball players or athletes in general. And a lot of my sales that I wind up getting are just from referrals, because I find that cold emailing and cold calling is not effective. Like a lot of people don't even answer cell phones that they don't recognize. Emails can go in spam folder, which, you know, never gets seen. So I rely heavily on word of mouth and just, you know, listening to what people talk, listening to their problems, and then how can I help? I always just took it for granted because that was like my skill set, but it's amazing how many people can't spell common words. They gave us that as an assignment one time. Common words that get misspelled. Yeah, the punctuation is a disaster.
There. Oh my gosh.
In my line of work, that's paramount. Obviously, the writing skills and stuff. But the other challenge is people that have good writing skills. A lot of times they might struggle with confidence being on camera that I'm seeing. So that's one challenge for me, is finding people that can do both. Or, you know, if you're a small enough company, sometimes you could kind of keep people in just those roles that they're comfortable in, because you don't want them to be exposed. Because we would do like a weekly show, and part of my responsibility to the writers was, oh, you can write for us, but you got to be on the show. But some kids will find out that's just not their strong suit. So. One thing I was just going to mention on that, I'm not going to sift through everybody's social media and be like, that person drinks, that's not what we're looking for, but I do think it kind of maybe says something about them. Like maybe they're not as reliable if I'm going to give them a Saturday morning assignment, but I know that they're probably going to be out late Friday night before. So I think you do kind of have more trust in people that are going to be a little bit more, I don't know, low key than you know, if they're out at concerts at the weekend or something normal. Like, you know, I've had people, like I mentioned, being an editor, you got to worry about people not showing up. There's kids that all of a sudden they're not feeling good on a Saturday morning when they were fine yesterday. So it's just something that has nothing to do with social media, but that is probably part of their life.
You mentioned a lot about avoiding those things and acting professional, but when those things do happen, sometimes things happen.
To me, after a while, that just, it doesn't resonate. You know, it's not you acknowledging that you did something wrong. I think you own it, and you know, if it's a job that you plan on staying at, you know, you have to understand that that's probably gonna stick with them for a little bit. So just, you gotta go in damage control. Instead, own it, apologize, say it's not gonna happen again. You know,
And don't let it happen again.
You gotta plug Adelphi in, that's for sure. They're always looking for quality writers. So I did that. I was a contributor my junior year. I transferred here, so that was my first year. And then the next year I was the assistant sports editor, and I think the second semester we'll go me and Stephen Levine were co-sport editors. same time, I interned at Bleacher Report, which mentioned earlier, but I don't want to do it again. They were expanding a lot at that time, and that's usually when you have your best opportunity when a company is like, you know, in that new stage. So they were looking to hire aggressively, so I was able to do that for a semester. And I did Patch and Anton, so I was able to cover sports. You know, it was right up my alley, and Anton hired me on at that time. Full time, I did that for a short period of time, but you know, that wasn't what I wanted to do. But any local paper, they're always looking for help. So I mean, there's some that are bigger. I mean, you could always go for the Newsday. You know, that's reaching for the stars. But then there's, you know, there's local papers like Anton, for example. They have all these, you know, smaller. That's the umbrella company, and then they have smaller ones for each town. So